On the Wednesday afternoon of March 21st, 2002, a bright, promising 13-year-old girl, Amanda Jane Dowler, known to everyone as Millie, was making her way home from school in Walton-on-Thames in Surrey. She'd spent the day as any teenager would, heading to a friend's house after classes, then calling her father to say she was on her way back. It was a journey that Millie had made countless times before, but one that would take a horrifying turn, because for that particular day, Millie would never arrive home. What began as a worrying delay soon escalated into a frantic search, and then a national nightmare that would expose a chilling truth about the dangers lurking in plain sight. Millie's parents, Sally and Bob Dowler, reported her missing immediately. The initial assumption, as with many teenage disappearances, might have been that she'd run away, but Millie wasn't that kind of girl. She was bright, responsible and deeply loved. Her family knew instinctively something was terribly wrong. The police launched a missing persons inquiry, but with little immediate evidence, the case was challenging. Posters went up across Surrey, volunteers joined searches, and Millie's face became a haunting image across the UK media. The desperate pleas from her parents resonated deeply with the public. The search for Millie was extensive, with police scouring local woods, abandoned buildings and waterways. They interviewed countless residents and followed up on every potential sighting. The emotional toll on the Dowler family was immense, living day by day with agonising uncertainty. Despite the monumental effort, weeks turned into months and still there was no trace of Millie. The case seemed to be growing cold and hope began to dwindle, replaced by a terrible fear of the unknown. Then on September 18th, 2002, 6 months after Millie disappeared, a devastating discovery was made. While foraging for mushrooms in Yeti Heath Forest, Hampshire, approximately 25 miles from Walton-on-Thames, human remains were found. Dental records tragically confirmed them to be Millie Dowler. The news shattered a nation that had held on to hope. Millie's disappearance was no longer a missing persons case, it was now a murder investigation. With Millie's body found, the focus shifted intensely to finding her killer. Detectives meticulously examined the scene for forensic evidence. But the breakthrough in identifying a suspect would come from an unexpected place years later, through meticulous reviews of evidence and a crucial link to another unsolved case. The man eventually linked to Millie Dowler's murder was Levi Bellfield. Bellfield was already a notorious figure, known to police for a string of violent crimes against women. In 2008, he was convicted of the murders of Marsha McDonnell in 2003 and Amélie Delagrange in 2004, as well as the attempted murder of Kate Sheedy in 2004. All these attacks occurred in West London, within a relatively close proximity to where Millie disappeared. Investigators began to connect the dots. The modus operandi, the geographical proximity, and Bellfield's known violent tendencies made him a prime suspect in Millie's case. The police re-examined evidence from the Millie Dowler investigation, looking for any link to Bellfield. Crucially, they found evidence that placed him in the area of Walton-on-Thames around the time Millie disappeared. Bellfield had worked as a bouncer and car clamper, and his movements were often erratic and geographically widespread. The nature of Millie's disappearance and death bore similarities to Bellfield's established pattern of violence against young women, particularly involving abductions and blunt force trauma. Evidence from Bellfield's former partners Johanna Collins, his ex-wife, and Emma Mills, his ex-girlfriend, was crucial during the trial. Johanna Collins gave evidence linking Bellfield to the area where Millie's remains were found, while Emma Mills provided evidence regarding Bellfield's movements around the time Millie disappeared and when her her body was disposed of, as well as his connection to a car seen in the vicinity. Although the judge made rulings about which bad character evidence could be admitted to the jury to ensure a fair trial, Bellfield's prior convictions for the murders of Marsha McDonnell and Amélie Delagrange and the attempted murder of Kate Sheedy were known and presented. Bellfield did not give evidence at his trial and consistently denied any involvement in Millie Dowler's death. Levi Bellfield was formally charged with Millie Dowler's murder in March 2010. The trial began in June 2011 at the Old Bailey, and the prosecution presented a compelling case detailing how Bellfield had abducted Millie as she walked home. The motive, while never fully articulated by Bellfield, was believed to be predatory and sexual. He was a man with a history of preying on young women. Despite Bellfield's denials, the evidence was overwhelming, and on June 23, 2011, Levi Bellfield was found guilty of Millie Dowler's murder and sentenced to a whole life order, meaning he would never be released from prison. He was already serving 2 whole life orders for his previous convictions, cementing his status as one of the UK's most dangerous serial killers. Millie Dowler's case tragically gained further notoriety years later due to the phone hacking scandal. It emerged that a private investigator working for the News of the World newspaper had hacked into Millie's voicemail after she disappeared, deleting messages to make room for more. This act, falsely giving her family brief hope that she was still alive and deleting crucial evidence, was a horrific betrayal that compounded their suffering and led to widespread public outrage, ultimately contributing to the closure of the News of the World. The Dowler family, despite their unimaginable grief, became powerful advocates for victims of crime and for a greater media accountability. Their strength and dignity in the face of such profound loss inspired many and played a significant role in bringing about changes in media regulation. Millie Dowler's story is a stark reminder of the devastating impact of violent crime and the courage of families who endure such tragedy. It's a case that exposed the sinister reality of a predator operating in our communities and highlighted the critical importance of vigilant police work. But above all, it's a story that compels us to remember Millie herself, a bright, innocent girl whose life was cruelly taken and whose memory continues to serve as a beacon for justice and change. Bellfield is currently imprisoned at HM Prison Frankland, a high-security prison in County Durham, England. In August 2024, a new law came into force as part of the Victims and Prisoners Act, specifically preventing the most serious offenders serving whole life orders from getting married or entering civil partnerships in prison. This new legislation was reportedly sped up due to Bellfield's attempts to enter a civil partnership while incarcerated. Bellfield has been linked to, and in some cases has allegedly confessed to, other crimes beyond those for which he has been convicted. Bellfield has allegedly confessed to the hammer murders of mother and daughter Lynn and Megan Russell. Michael Stone was twice convicted of these killings and is serving a life sentence, but has always denied involvement. Legal experts urge caution regarding Bellfield's confessions due to his manipulative nature, but Stone's legal team has used Bellfield's alleged confessions in attempts to appeal Stone's conviction. Police have reviewed other unsolved attacks on women in London that occurred between 1990 and 2004, where victims were subjected to blunt force trauma, to see if Bellfield could be responsible. Former Senior Investigating Officer Colin Sutton, who led the investigation that caught Bellfield, believes Bellfield committed dozens more crimes for which he will likely never be prosecuted. Bellfield was also charged with the abduction and and false imprisonment of Anna Maria Rennie in 2001 and the attempted murder of Irma Dragoshi in 2003. However, the juries in these cases failed to reach verdicts. Thanks for watching our first 10 minutes true crime story. If you enjoyed the video, please throw a like on it to help it rise in the YouTube algorithm. Consider subscribing as we have more of these videos coming every week, and there's a playlist above that will let you binge watch all of our true crime videos in one go.